Hey everybody, this is Don again. It is time for episode 28 of Practical Reality. It's Saturday afternoon around 4 o'clock. It's been a rainy day today, not exactly a great summer day, but we need the rain, so I'm glad. I am not in the park today. I'm sitting on my deck, and I'm going to do this video from here since I think rain is imminent again. It doesn't really make sense just to drive to the park and do the video and come home in the rain. So today's topic is going to be building momentum. And to start off explaining what that means, I'm going to use a little metaphor. Have you ever been driving along on a road and there are speed bumps? And what happens? Some people slow way down and take the bump at 2 miles an hour and then go to however far the next speed bump is, whatever it's 100 feet away, 200 feet away, and they slow way down and they take the speed bump really slow. Well, I've never agreed with that sort of philosophy for speed bumps. Yes, speeding over a speed bump is not good for your car. There's no question about it. But as far as I'm concerned, you don't have to necessarily slow that down that much to take a speed bump. As a matter of fact, it's better to sort of glide over the speed bumps. And that's the approach that I'm going to take to building momentum. That's what I'm going to talk about as we proceed today. Now, as I've mentioned in previous videos, every thought is energy. Sadness is energy. Joy is energy. Inner peace is energy. Elation is energy. And every thought that you have affects the energy of your internal environment. So naturally then, building momentum means to ride a wave of positive energy throughout your day and to glide over those speed bumps that come along on a daily basis. Now, in order to create that sort of momentum, the first thing you have to realize is that your comfort zone is not your friend. Your comfort zone keeps you stuck. Your comfort zone is that little cocoon that you've prepared for yourself, that you comfort yourself with, a partial reality that you reside in to remain, I shouldn't say comfortable, but remain in that sort of same status quo where you don't challenge yourself, where you cannot grow, because obviously growth requires you to make yourself uncomfortable. And making yourself uncomfortable can be as simple as supporting positive beliefs throughout your day, even while encountering those little speed bumps that come along. And they are numerous, and they can be overwhelming. And they can be anything from a comment someone says to you that puts you down, something you see on TV that upsets you, something that happens at work. You know what I mean? Anything that, we all know we can all identify what those little speed bumps are that can bring you into a state of negativity. And what happens when those speed bumps occur and you have that wave of negativity? You retreat into your comfort zone and say, I guess things aren't really that bad after all. And that's how you deal with it. But it's obvious the more effective way to deal with it is to keep on supporting those positive beliefs and glide over those speed bumps and not let the little things that can get you down, those little criticisms, those little pointed words, those little incidents. If you don't let those get you down, you can support a wave of positive belief that carries you through your day. And that's what's called emotional regulation. You then don't have to worry about what you encounter during your day. You are in control of the external environment, and therefore you do not let those kind of little occurrences knock you off your calm center. Now, how do you go about maintaining that calm center? That's the central question here. The real work that has to be done is to develop a routine, like a to-do list, a daily to-do list of positive affirmations, of future self visualizations. Remember, the future self that you want to become, it already exists in the future as potential energy. Potential energy is that state of mind, of being, that you will achieve when you become your future self. But you can experience the emotions of your future self just by using your power of emotional regulation. And that requires you to step out of your comfort zone and resist the urge to retreat into it when you encounter those little speed bumps that life throws at you every day. So what you need to do is to develop a routine of self-affirmation. I go to the gym probably 3 times a week. I play tennis. I'm very active in the summertime. There's no question about that. More than in the winter. But so what does that mean? I'm taking care of my body, okay? I'm taking care of my body and it feels good and it makes me look younger than my age. It makes me healthy. But if you think about how much time you spend working on your mental state with everything that's being thrown at you every single day that's meant to bring you down, that's meant to make you feel powerless. How much you let that affect you completely determines what your internal state of mind is going to be, your internal environment. Something triggers you, something pisses you off, something makes you feel crappy about yourself. How long are you going to let that state of mind fester inside of you? Or are you going to say to yourself, no, that's not me. Whatever that person said, whatever I saw that upset me is not me. That is not who I am. I am not going to let that affect me. You can quickly return to a state of positive mental environment by using a system of affirmations and your power of emotional regulation. And then the longer you can hold on to that positive affirmation of yourself and create a peaceful internal environment, that's how you're building momentum towards becoming the person that you see, the potential energy that is there, the potential self that you can visualize every single day. Imagine if you spent as much time working on your mental state as you do on your body. What kind of transformation do you think would occur as a result? Are you afraid to try it? Do you think that it's garbage? Do you think that that's BS? Well, the fact of the matter is that it's not. And if you spent as much time working on your mental state as you did on your physical body, then obviously there would be a tremendous improvement in that internal environment. And even I'm not holier than thou here, okay? I don't do that. I spend a lot more time on my physical because physical exertion feels good and it's a challenge. But yet, the maintenance of the internal environment is just as big a challenge, but it's a tougher challenge. And that's why some people just give up. And that's why people say, no, I can't do this. This is not going to work. I can't maintain this state of mind, this state of peace in my internal environment with all the crap that's going on around me. Well, that simply isn't true. And that's simply something you just cannot accept. And that is where the step out of the comfort zone occurs. When you finally say to yourself, no, I'm not going to accept this. This is not who I am. This is not who I want to be. This is not the future self that I visualize. And then that's when real change can begin to occur, because you commit yourself to establishing an internal state of environment that creates momentum for yourself towards the visualization of your future self that is there, already existing as potential energy. Now, I think it's also comforting to know that not everybody in the world is opposed to your own transformation. There are people out there who will support you in this effort, and it's important that you try to locate some of those people. If you have a lot of friends, some of them may actively resist your own transformation because they're afraid of their own transformation. Okay, but there are other people out there who are more open-minded and may say, wow, it's great that you are trying this. I fully support you. Those people are out there, and I would encourage anyone who attempts to make this change in their internal environment to seek out others who think the same way, and to limit your time with those people who will belittle you for this kind of effort. And of course, the people who will belittle you will just call it crap. We'll call it garbage. We'll say there's nothing scientific to support this whatsoever. And okay, fine. There is no proven scientific link that positive thinking produces positive results. But what's the alternative? Would you rather stay in the same state of mind that you're in and experience the same thoughts, the same feelings, the same experiences every day? Or are you looking to improve? Do you have the courage to try and experiment with your own internal state of mind to produce the kind of results and the kind of life that you want? Or are you just going to accept the fact that you can't do it? Are you up to the challenge? That is the central question that you have to face on a daily basis. And it's also very, very true that in quantum mechanics, the observer affects the outcome. So what do you become? You become the observer of your own life and your own internal environment. And therefore, with your positive energy and your positive thoughts, you affect the outcome of your own internal environment, and therefore affect the outcome of your own life. And I think the last point that needs to be made here is to remember momentum implies action. Momentum implies force. Momentum implies, like, an active, sweaty exercise, like building momentum. You think about like building strength and that kind of thing. It's not this, that's not the same thing when you're building momentum in your internal environment. Building momentum, in this case, is found in silence. Momentum is found in the quiet moments, the stillness, the inner peace, the positive affirmations, the time that you take to reflect. That's why the mental time that you take to sit quietly and clear your thoughts and visualize is so, so important. Because the more that you do that, the more momentum you build. Momentum is not, it's not the same as physical activity. It's not like building strength where you work your way up to a certain weight on the bench, this kind of thing. Or you can run so many miles without tiring. It's not that, okay? That it's in as compared to that type of activity, building momentum, if you believe in it and believe in yourself, is actually easier, because you can sit down and reflect on your own mind, become the observer of your own mind and your own internal environment, and visualize the future self that is there. Remember, the future self is not something imaginary. The future self is something that exists, has the potential energy to come into being. And it's only through your efforts as a conscious observer of your own internal environment, practicing emotional regulation, that will allow you to glide over those speed bumps and maintain the momentum that it takes to get to where you want to be as far as your future self is concerned. Now that seems a little counterintuitive, doesn't it? It's, that's why I said what momentum usually is. Building some sort of force, pushing. It's not that. It's that's the counterintuitive way of thinking about momentum of your internal environment and the visualization of your future self. You are a creator. You are the observer of the internal environment, and therefore you become the influencer of that environment. And it is only through the use of the positive affirmations, the gliding over the speed bumps, and the method that you use to emotionally regulate yourself, no matter what occurs. There are new occurrences every day. Every single day, something new can happen that can make it seem like your visualization, your goal is out of reach for you. And the more that you believe that, every time that you have that experience where you start to feel that way, all that is your past self telling you that you cannot be what you want to be, that the change for you is impossible, that your mind doesn't work right, something like that, okay? That simply is not true. Whatever future self you want to be is achievable with the proper emotional regulation. Use your mind to build that momentum. Glide over the speed bumps and say, okay, here I am. I'm starting the day today in a positive state of mind. I will remain in that positive state of mind today, no matter what happens. And before I go to bed at night, I'm going to remind myself that I was in a positive state of mind all day. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and be in that same positive state of mind and use that to maintain myself throughout the day. And that is the definition of momentum for your internal environment. Now, I thank you all for listening. I hope your Saturday goes well. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and leave any comments you'd like. I'd love to hear feedback on what people think. Have a great day. Peace, prosperity to you all.